And I'm very curious what kind of spells you have. I don't think you ever told me your spells.
Oop. One second, I'll tell you. Can't believe I stopped playing Naruto to do this. I got Mind Silver, Mage Hand, Firebolt, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Burning Hands, Magic Missile, Sleep, Shield, and Featherfall.
Okay, those are actually really good spells. I love those.
As soon as he
Not my
said
first time playing the wizard, my friend.
I know.
you think of what I'm thinking?
Yeah. Do not bring that up, Chase. Don't bring it up.
What are you
Don't
trying?
talk
What
about
are you
that.
thinking you're doing here?
Well,
It's not what I did. It is what I did, but it's like not a good thing.
Oh, okay.
wait, no.
And
We're talking about two different things.
are we?
I'm saying Tasha's Hideous Laughter because friggin' when we was going against Jacob's character,
Oh.
we did that the entire fight, almost the entire fight. He could not get up. He was literally like, okay, I finally get back up, and I'm gonna, because we had him on the ground for like 2 rounds. He goes, I'm finally gonna get back up and fight this, and then we got Tasha's Hideous Laughter again. He was back on the ground for 2 more rounds.
Yeah,
I
and
was
then you
thinking-
guys killed
I was-
yourselves. But
And yeah, and then
Sean.
Sean kamikaze.
Thinking of
Hey,
the
hey,
thing in
none
Storm
of us died,
Kings.
Oh, only half. No, every one of us got incapacitated at one point because of.
do you have like 3 spellcasters cast Tasha's Hideous on you guys? How many spellcasters can there be in Storm Kings?
No, happened was I was the only spellcaster in Storm Kings, and we were fighting giants at like 5th level, which is, you know, we were gonna die if we didn't get away. So the thing about my character is that he's shadow touched, so he gets a free proc of invisibility. No like downfalls to it. And I gave it to some dude earlier who was important to the story to help him get out of there. And so I didn't have that. And so I was like, okay, you guys run out the back door. I'll go out front and distract the giant. And so I I run out the door and let myself be known. And I cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter at the giant at 20 on the save. I got a rock thrown at me. Succeeded the dex save by 1 to dodge the rock. So ran out the back door. The giant destroyed the house I was in. I'm like, okay, I can't fail this time. Cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Nat 20 on the save. So we start running, and at some point during the chase, I cast it one more time. At 20 on the save. Got away.
Really didn't want those
I wasted
giants.
all of my first level spell slots.
That sounds like DM really didn't want them to go down.
No, we did this in person. Jacob wasn't scumming the rolls.
So you,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I
the thing
guess
was,
then.
Jacob literally looked kind of mad that he wasn't like that we were losing as bad as we were.
Yeah, 'cause
Wait,
we were supposed to get away. We weren't even supposed to get in contact with the giants. But I was trying to be heroic and cool. I'll put the entire party in jeopardy.
Yeah, Jacob, I think Jacob told me about it. It was like, you're just trying to cast him, and in my head, you're just trying to tell a funny joke, and the giant's like stares like stone cold face, like, bitch, get the fuck out of here, just throws a rock at you. It's so
When the
funny in my
comedian
head.
keeps stuttering.
Yeah, and
It
I
was so
got a
funny.
little
He's like,
girl
"Bitch."
killed. Got a little
Yo!
child killed. Because the giant threw when the giant threw the next rock to destroy the house, there was a little girl in the attic and it killed her.
That's epic. William, who?
Yeah, and the funny thing was no one noticed
that's
that.
not compared to William.
No one noticed that until one of us pointed it out. I don't remember who it was, but someone was just like, "Dude, wasn't there a child in that house?"
Wasn't there a child there that you just got killed, bro?
Yeah, plot twist. Essentially, we're William. Collectively in Storm Kings,
Yeah,
we
we're
kill
all this
children.
guy. Except worse.
Well,
He hasn't actually gotten anyone killed yet.
Who?
Damien
Damon's
as a
character.
whole, Damien as a whole, just loves antagonizing children.
Yeah, one game he
Yeah.
literally magic missiled a kid because the kid broke he was making a sand castle on the beach and they were having a sand castle competition. I don't know why this was happening, but they decided, hey, this is a good idea. So they're making their sand castles or whatever, and they're rolling to see what happens. Damon gets like second best or something. And then I describe a halfling child running over and kicking down his sandcastle because kids are annoying, and there were kids on the beach. And then he decides, screw you, kid, and magic missiles the kid. And then his father just keeps reloading his hand crossbow and shooting it into his character. And he's like, this is fair. And just keeps taking bolt after bolt until he goes unconscious.
Oh God,
Yeah, it's
sad
funny.
times.
Okay. Commence with the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Last time our
Can we get a
party
recap
had...
real quick?
Yeah, I was about it. Last time
What?
our party had left had left the Wyung Gates. Our party had left the Wyung Gates at the bidding of some king. Each of our party members started to acquaint each other, or get acquainted with each other on the road as they came closer to Port Zune, and eventually found their way towards the Morden Temple. They talked to a few members there, eventually figured out how to sign up for the smithing competition, did so, and also bought some very dangerous alcohol. They headed back and found their way to a guild hall, were rejected rooms there, and then to a regular tavern, were quickly threatened by a random man claiming he's from the church to get the people downstairs. They then woke up the next day, explained that they were threatened to their allies, and headed back toward Morden's temple to commence the first day of smithing. They are now standing in line with the 5 heads of the church, all looking at them, and the leader of the church has just finished his small intro to the smithing competition and pointed you guys towards the smithing array that you guys are working at. Each of you have a small boxed off section from the others, so you can't see what the others are smithing, and you have your own designated smith that will be yours for the entire tournament. You are underground and have air valves that are pushing the smoke and any of the toxic fumes that may be produced outside, pumping them through the adamantine tower above. If those valves are messed with, the smithing becomes dangerous. You also know that this is geothermally powered, and if your forge turns off and you don't turn the fuel off, toxic fumes will likely enter the space as well. It's a fairly dangerous, but you are assured that it's a safe enough environment. And also provides you benefits that other forges in the outside world would not, such as a perfectly consistent forge, never wavering in heats, and always going exactly how you would like it to. You are each designated your section. You guys are given one of the last 2 in the rows, and are told that you have the entire 7 days to finish 3 objects. What those objects are is entirely up to you, and you have 1 assistant. The rest of your squad, the mage and the paladin, who were not part of the actual competition, are permitted to watch, but also if they interact with any of the smithing tools, then they are kicked out of the presence. Presence. I think that's what it's called. But they're not allowed. You guys are not allowed to actually touch any of the other forges. You're just allowed to watch and be down here and observe. And you do see a few folks that are observing down here as well. Their respective friends while they smith. As the first day commences, I would like you, Sean, Zal, roll a smithing check with advantage, as you have your elvish artificer aiding you while you smith, delivering objects when needed, and just fine-tuning things.
Okay, so first of all, I wanna take a quick look at what materials that we have currently
Uh,
making stuff.
in the actual smithing booth itself, there isn't directly too many resources. They're obviously not extremely well paid or whatever to actually have a bunch of stuff down here. You see high quality steel, as any forge would use. You see different kinds of wood, 3 or 4 different kinds. There's regular, just oak wood, some mahogany, some other miscellaneous woods that you can't quite place your name on. There's a few pieces of stone if you wanted to add fine stones. No gems, just regular like marble and stone. Uh, Other than that, it's entirely up to you to make something that looks good and is worth value. Basic materials that any smith would have.
Okay. So for the first item, I'm gonna start off kind of weak. I'm gonna start off with the shield first, as like who starts off with a shield first? Uh, so Zal is just going to like get some of the fine rocks, or mostly marble he gets, and also I'm assuming there's iron as well.
Yeah, there's iron, there's steel, things that would be used for weaponry. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what Zal's going to do with the iron, he's going to make the frame of the shield, and like the kind of like the whole functional part of the shield. But then with the fine marble, he's going to kind of like decorate it to, uh, in a sort of warrior-esque type carving, and then I'll roll with advantage to do so.
Yeah. Roll a regular smithing check for your first check of the smithing competition. Actually, you need to roll 3 of those checks, but unless you guys have anything to do between days, you can just go ahead and roll for the 3 days that do occur. What are you all playing, bro? Playing aggressively.
It got really quiet.
It's because Sean taking forever to roll.
Sean?
Sean.
Sean even. Sean died.
Did he leave? No, he's still in the chat. He just didn't say none.
He might be lagging.
Probably.
Or like his mom could have came into his room.
Damien just randomly texts. When Sean does the smithing thing, yo, what is going on with these apps? What did he message me on?
Oh, hi.
My character will give advice, but yeah, that's already something.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so sorry, my thing decided to break. So I rolled a natural 20, by the way.
Go ahead and roll 3 consecutively. Just because, unless there's anything
Okay.
you guys do between these days, this competition will go as smoothly as it physically could. Nothing is going to
Okay.
directly affect you on this first
Alright,
object, at least.
so so the first one was the shield, natural 20 was for the shield.
No, you roll
and this
3.
one-
You roll 3 for each object, and you take the average
Oh,
to see.
can I get advantage on all of them?
Yes.
Okay, so that was one natural 20 for that one, so... Okay, thank God I have advantage. I rolled 2 9s, sadly.
What's the
Okay, that was
average of
better.
that?
Hold on, I'll do
So it's a
the whole
20
average.
plus 9 plus 9 divided by 3. Your average is 12.
No, that wasn't with advantage.
Oh.
Okay, so 26, 16, and 24.
16 plus 24 divided by 3. Your average is 22. That's pretty high.
That's great.
You smith away with your shield. You hear the smiths nearby pinging away. And once you guys are finished with your first object, you set it aside and continue with the next section. One day,
Okay.
though, as you approach back to at night, after you guys have done smithing, you head back toward that tavern, continuing to rent those rooms. One thing that will be a problem is you guys are going to have to pay, I think it's going to be about 3 silver per day to rent those rooms. So you're going to have to rent those rooms for 7 days. So 7 times 3 is 21, I think.
21, so that's like 2 gold.
Yeah, 2 gold,
like
1
a silver.
will be charged to
Each of
you.
us?
Yeah, each of you. Well, no, whoever's renting the room. You only have 1 room.
Yeah, and I'll pay for it as I'm kind of the one contesting for it.
Okay.
So don't worry about it.
So Zal is paying.
Yeah.
The first object goes smoothly, but as you approach, heading back after 1 day of smithing, you do see an oddity as in front of your tavern, in particular, you see 3 or 4 beggars who have just decided to sit in front and are obviously begging as like a group for a coin. Your eyes focus on that, and you hear 2 clicks of crossbow bolts not too far away. You are not the ones targeted, however. Your tavern isn't so far from the Warden's Hall that all of the other contestants have left the area. You are apparently not in the lead by whoever is wanting to win's perspective, and you see another contestant being shot and brought to his knees, collapsing to the ground, and seemingly dying. His assistant rushes over and tries to aid him, and you turn around to look out to see who was the one firing. Go ahead and make some perception checks, whoever would like. Either 2 people can make 1, or 1 with advantage.
I have crappy wisdom, so someone else would make it.
I'll do it because Zal's usually Zal is like usually on lookout for shit like this because reasons.
Surprise paladin.
Give you advantage, fella.
Okay. Actually, I need to make sure what mine is. Okay, yeah. Okay, luckily I have advantage. That's not great. A 12.
12
My
is not
passive
high
wisdom
enough.
is higher.
You turn around, spinning to the danger, seeing who was firing these crossbow bolts. The best you see is you see some other people like crouching down, putting their hands over their head, or running the other direction. Some other folks probably have seen the firing, who fired, but they leave the scene very quickly. You walk over to the other contestant, quickly checking, and as well as his assistant is. But those crossbow bolts obviously were from a heavy crossbow, as the bolts are large and weighted and have poison on the tips. Whoever was hit, you never even caught his name, was brought to his knees and killed near immediately. This is just one of the smiths, so there's plenty of competition left to go on, but apparently this was the best in the first object's creation.
Okay, Zal is kind of like freaking out a little bit as he's like seeing the dead person. He's trying to continue looking around for the people, but to no avail. He kind of thinks for a second. Is like, does Zal know what this guy created before?
No clue.
Did we get to see? Okay, so we don't see.
The people that you don't know necessarily. If they would like to try and recall what this guy was creating and who this guy was, the 2 non-smiths can.
Okay.
I'll do that because I think I have good history.
Yeah, make
1
a
second.
generic history then, because it's not a very far back history. It's just a history of what happened that day or the last 3 days.
I rolled a 7.
7. No clue. This guy was unremarkable in your eyes, but apparently not unremarkable in those who want to win, or at least bad enough to kill his eyes.
Kotor was gonna sit there and like scratch his head. He's not gonna remember anything. He's like, well, that's 1 less of our competition down, so I suppose this is good.
I guess that one guy was right, but oh well. I guess the
Trust me, Zal.
competition still goes on.
I won't be so lucky when it comes to us.
That's fair. Let's just hope we can see them before they deal with him. Is the assistant dead, or is the assistant alive?
The assistant's fine. and is looking
Okay.
at the smith. And the smith and the assistant. The smith actually looks to be a somewhat younger elf. He had no name that is recalled to you guys, but he was a somewhat younger elf, that Smith was. And the assistant looks to be a middle-aged human, just crouching over. And he looks to almost have a somewhat familial bond as the way he is like grieving this Smith in front of you, though he has no way to really do anything about it. So he's just kind of sitting
Zal
there
comes
staring.
Can I loudly laugh at the assistant?
You loudly laugh, and he just looks up at you blankly. Doesn't even register.
Like I'm laughing and pointing, so he knows I'm laughing at him.
Yeah. he
No,
understands.
no.
He understands, but he's just looking at you. He seems, at the moment, extremely damaged.
Zal's gonna like walk over to him, like crouch down, just, like put a hand on his chest. Is like, I'm sorry for your loss.
Ethan, you pulled a Rayla.
I'm not.
That's great. I'm not. But yeah, he stares at you, man. At right now, he's just here. His body's here. His mind is somewhere else.
Yeah, I kind of just like I can't not really able to do much. Zal kind of just like gently pats the assistant's shoulder, gets up, and just like somberly walks away. Though, however, he is now on super high alert as he's now probably in the line of fire.
Maybe.
Play good cop and bad cop, Zal.
Dude. You guys find your way to. Oh, go ahead.
What do you mean by good cop and bad cop? I just wanted to console the guy.
Ah, okay.
Alright, and then we can continue.
Then you guys make your way, finishing that night, making sure that your assistant, can't remember Damien's character's name right now, boxes up the doorway pretty well with their
I think it
alarm
was
clock.
failing.
Failing, yeah. You rest the next day and begin creating your second object. Go ahead and roll for the next 3 days consecutively.
Alright. Trent, I want to make a watchtower on wheels.
No, sorry. That's off limits. You don't have enough wood in the room at the moment, so there's a problem with that.
Alright, for this day is going to be the pointy warhammer. With advantage on all three. Oh, thank... That first day...
This guy
That first
sucks.
day didn't go well.
Okay.
Oh, the second day's going better.
Plenty of people are gonna have to die this time.
Natural 20 on the second day.
Nice.
Alright, one more.
You guys are all gonna have to die.
Okay, so 11, 26, 21.
11, 26, 21. 11
Second day was a natural 20. I don't know what.
Plus 21. I'm not going to give any bonuses for it necessarily being natural 20 because it's already going to be extremely high. With a 19 average, you easily beat, or at least assume you easily beat, most of the competition. Your average skill level being fairly high. Some of the other smiths, you hear one of them breaking their weapon that they were creating halfway through. You then see them walking somberly out with a half-broken rapier with no time to complete the object. They're immediately disqualified as they don't have the possibility of finishing all three. At the end of the 3 days, you guys each put your secondary object. Which one was it this time? The Zweihander?
This was the pointy warhammer, and the pointy. Okay, and I wanted to describe it a little bit. So the pointy warhammer is made of nice refined steel. It has like more of it has kind of like a oil spill kind of like gloss over it, and it's like okay, it is the most edgiest thing you could see. It like all over where the mall is, where like the metal pieces are. It is literally spikes almost everywhere. You can consider this thing a freaking mace. How spiky it is.
Like a morning star or something.
Basically,
yeah, but a mall
but
as well.
it's rectangled, but it's like a Morningstar mix.
Wait,
Here, can we hold up for a second? Because I'm going to have to switch from my computer to my phone because for some reason the Bluetooth is acting funky on my computer.
Okay,
All right, that's fine.
we'll give you a
Sorry.
second then.
What would a mall be?
A maul
Like,
is 2d6 plus your
no,
street
no, no, no.
Yeah,
trial.
Like, what is a mall?
Large hammer.
it's a large
Uh,
warhammer
Like,
basically.
like if you have a hammer that you wield with two hands and then crush someone's skull in with it, that's a
I
maul.
it's basically a sledgehammer, but bigger.
Yes, sledgehammer would be a good explanation for that.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
Welcome.
okay.
Uh,
I was just wondering.
you play you,
So it's a spiky mall.
pretty much.
Basically,
That's
yeah.
what he's making. But you place it to
It's
the
a
side, finishing your 3 days of work.
Zal being on alert as he probably gets the gist of it now.
You understand that people are dying after completing objects, and usually it's based off who's doing well. You see several smiths have poorly created objects as you walk by. Not a lot of them actually did very well this time. You seem to have the best object, which immediately puts you extremely high on guard. They then you then walk back towards your individual hotel, making sure to stay on the lookout. And this time, however, nothing seems to happen. There is no issue. You wake up the next day to complete your last object perfectly fine. One thing you notice, though, is that as you reapproach Morden's Hall, more than half of the other contestants are not approaching. Whoever has spent their entire night finishing off the rest of the contestants. You see, in the remaining bunch, a few familiar faces. You see the smith that was part of the smithing guild. He is in this as well. He is one of the remaining dwarves. I'm going to have to pull up my document here, which takes forever to load for some reason every time. And I'll tell you who are the rest of the people. Very bottom, please. Yeah, you see a guy that you kind of have overheard his name as Reginald Shieldsmith, and he seems to be the guy who makes only shields. Everything he makes is a shield. Other than that, you hear of a guy who calls himself Sean Ashgard. And these are like the remaining smiths, by the way. There's the guy who
No,
was at the guild
there's
hall.
only two.
No,
There's only two.
there's the guy who was at the guild hall. There was a guy named Reginald Shieldsmith, a human named Sheen Ashgard. Those other two are dwarves, by the way. You have Pwent Harshmetal. And that's it. You have 5 other smiths. Pwent Harshmetal, Reginald Roundshield, John Theroux, and Sheen Ashgard. There's 5 smiths left in this competition, including yourself. Your final object is your giant Zweihander as you begin
Yeah,
production.
but before that, I wanna. Zal is going to look at a lot of them because he's kind of like dwindling down who could be the operative among these contestants. So is that an insight check, or do you not want me to do that?
I don't know how you could insight to see who's murdering everyone. Mostly because everyone's on alert, whether they're the murderer or not. Because
Okay.
one's like ready to jump people, one's not ready to jump people. If you could or if you wanted to talk to individual people, you could probably get something out of it. But they don't seem to be willing to talk to anyone, as they are trying to survive the competition more than anything.
And Zal is just going to be kind of he's not going to want to initiate conversation anyway, as he's already high alert as well. He'll kind of just look at Kotaro and Orion. It's like, you think you guys could probably, I don't know, talk to the other Smiths while we're working? Try to get some information out?
I suppose so, but something that has been turning in my mind. Don't you think that we should tell the officials that we have been threatened? If you do not remember the other night when that man told us not to enter the competition.
There is that, but I mean, we can probably tell them about it. But I'd like it for if at least one of you were to keep an eye on any of the smiths, see if they do anything suspicious.
Will do.
The
And
remaining
then,
dwarves and the only two humans remaining, which is you and Sheen Ashgard, reapproach their smithing tables and begin their work. Who are you going to interact with originally? There are four other smiths other than Zal. The only other human is called Sheen Ashgard. You have Reginald Shieldsmith, Quint Harshmetal, and John Thera. Those are three dwarves. One of which you saw in the guild hall.
Uh,
What are you saying? Sorry, bro, don't make the rule. What are y'all talking about?
Nathan.
Oh. Roll to see if Damien is gay.
Okay, you were speaking to me, right?
You and Paladin Man, whatever. I can't remember his name either.
Orion.
Um,
Orion, yeah.
okay, I don't want to talk to the dude from the Smiths Guild because I really don't think that he has anything to do with it. So like literally the person that looks like or the person that I know the least.
You know, Reginald Shieldsmith and Quint Harshmetal are the dwarves. So the only one that stands out to you, you don't know anyone other than John Thero slightly. The one that stands out to you though is the only other human because he's the only other human.
I'll go talk to him then.
You walk over to the setting up Smith, his assistant, a somewhat rough and scarred young boy. Not scarred as in combat scarred, scarred as in he has obviously been very uncareful around the fires of the smithing area. He has very harsh burns all over his hands. You doubt he can even feel flame at this point, which only adds to the burn marks. But you walk up as he's setting up, and he turns to face you. So I'm assuming you're the ones who knocking everybody out. You coming to threaten me next?
Um, I was about to ask you the same thing.
Well, if I was going to threaten someone when I come to you, you came to me. Sounds a lot more suspicious, doesn't it? I actually
Well,
heard a
you
lot
see,
of these people are
fellows,
dying. Only like two of them have been killed, maybe three, but the rest have just dropped out. They're too afraid. Not gonna let you intimidate me, man.
well, listen, before you start making accusations, I'm here to gather information and try to find out what's going on. You see, I'm not exactly a smith. I'm an acquaintance of one of the smiths. But I want to find out just exactly what's going on. You see, the other night before the competition started, some man came up to us and began making, uh, well, very passive aggressive threats towards us. And I was wanting to know if you had experienced something of the same.
Not exactly, no. Wasn't a man threatening us directly, but when we awoke, someone had stabbed a crossbow bolt with a message around it on our doorway when we awoke from the tavern. Told us not to enter that
Ah,
message did.
that's the exact same thing we were told. You see, um, my suspicion is that the person who is doing all these things is not even in the competition. I believe that they are being paid or something of the like.
I doubt
Just,
that.
if
If
you,
they weren't in the competition, they didn't have a chance to win anyway. If they were getting paid for helping the others win, then there would be someone to follow. And if you're an investigator, you should be following people, yes?
I am not exactly an investigator, just a concerned citizen.
Sounds like an undercover investigator to me. Anyway, I gotta get to
Whatever
work
you
here.
say.
We have the last objects. So unless you're here to threaten me or tell me who's in charge, or not who's in charge, but tell me who's the one that's making the trouble so I can go help you, uh, I've really got to get to work on this if I want to win.
Oh, understood. I look forward to beating you.
You're not
And
a
with
smith,
that, Kotaro
remember?
walks away.
Yeah, he's like tries to remind you you're not a smith, but you walk away either way. Uh, are you going to anyone else as they begin their daily preparations?
I guess I will go talk to the dwarves.
Which one of the dwarves? Reginald Shieldsmith, Quint Harshmetal, or John Theroux, which is the one that was at the guild?
Um, Shieldsmith.
Okay, you walk over to the Shieldsmith and see him. Both of the objects he's produced thus far in the competition are extremely fine shields. One that's a buckler made for a lighter style of combat. One that's a heavy wall shield that would cover the entirety of a dwarf, and he could literally just stand behind it and no arrow could ever find him. It is a middle aged, somewhat on the older side, blonde haired dwarf. He is obviously short, but slightly shorter than even a dwarf should be. He carries blades on his sides, but you also notice that each of these blades double as a tool. Like the pommel will have the different kind of tool, and he'll flip the blade over and hammer something with it. Uh, and he seems at the moment to be setting up another shield, obviously. And he just looks up as you approach, just staring at you. His assistant
Um,
is another dwarf, but much younger. Probably his son, you can see by just the relation almost in the faces.
uh, Before I start talking to this dude, can I keep an eye out for like? Can I make a roll to keep an eye out for a heavy crossbow, like the kind of bolt that was fired into the dude that I laughed at?
Alright, go ahead and make a perception check as you're walking around to see if any of the smithing areas have heavy crossbows stored in them or if any of the people are carrying them.
Okay.
Because they're not likely to be extremely exposed if they're trying to hide this.
An 11.
11. Uh, there isn't an obvious heavy crossbow, especially on this person. The round shield family here seems to just be carrying these small blades they use for everyday work and turning them over and using them as smithing tools. As you walked past the human, however, you see that he himself has a crossbow, though you aren't sure whether he has produced it for the competition using the wood around or if that was just a regular crossbow. Uh, and
And
as you walk
that's the
past,
fella that
you
I talked to last, right?
do what?
That's the fella that I talked to
Yeah,
last, right?
that's the only other
Okay, okay,
human.
sorry.
He has a crossbow. The other two
Okay.
dwarves, you walk past them fairly inconspicuously. John Theroux doesn't have any sort of hand crossbow you can see, and neither does the other dwarf. The only person that might have a hand or a large heavy crossbow is the human, but you're not sure if it's for the competition or not.
All right. Um. So as I'm walking up to this shield smith guy, uh, I'm gonna be like, "Excuse me, sir. Can I have a moment of your time?"
Yeah, but just a moment. I need to start on the next shield. They take a lot of hitting. What do you need?
Well, you see, I've been walking around pressing you Smiths for questions about these unfortunate series of murders and intimidations. Uh, you wouldn't happen to know anything, would you?
I just know a man walked up to me day I joined the competition, told me not to stay. He was a rough, middle-aged guy. Really, all I know about it.
Did he claim to be a part of the clergy?
No, not directly. He actually threatened me directly with the myriad.
Uh,
I don't know if he's part of the myriad, but he said he was. That usually scares most people away, but not me. I ain't scared of nothing. These shields will hide behind anything. If I put a shield from me, nobody hurting me.
as it seems. I have noticed a reoccurring events. It seems most of the people I've talked to have been threatened in this way. Uh, and, well, as I am not exactly a contestant of this little competition, just keep an eye out. I would not enjoy to see you hurt or harmed, And I have heard that this transgressor does have a dislike or distaste for dwarves.
That sounds like a threat, young one.
It's nothing of the kind. I'm just looking out for you.
Mm-hmm. I'll keep an
And
eye
like you
out,
said,
alright?
if you can hide behind a shield, nothing will hurt you.
Last I heard, a guy was shot in the back.
Huh.
Now
Well,
he looks more like trying to intimidate you to back down than anything, because it seems that the wording you've used has ticked him off to some sort of threatening posture.
well, it looks like you have a plethora of shields, so maybe you can just have one there too.
Good advice, yes. Move along, though. I do need to start on this, if you don't mind.
Of course. Good luck and all.
And yourself. Turns back around and continues conversation. The assistant keeps glancing your direction, though, obviously nervously, or at least seemingly nervously. I'm assuming, are going to move on towards Puente Harshmetal and towards John Thero.
Yeah.
Okay, you head to Puente Harshmetal because you said that you weren't worried about the other guy quite yet. This one seems to be a much different fellow. He is wearing armor even inside, which is allowed, though most people when smithing prefer to not wear heavy heated metal. Uh, he is wearing armor that is strangely rigid. Like as he moves, it squeaks pretty loudly, which was hard not to miss, but you kind of just assume as part of the smithing process before. As he walks around, you also notice that different parts of his armor have like spikes that stick out. So it almost seems as if he walked into you and rubbed up against you in a crowd, you would somewhat be hurt by this armor, as it would pinch you or scratch you in different areas. He doesn't have an assistant. He is smithing by himself, and he is creating what looks to, or he has created what looks to be a large warhammer, similar to the one Zal has created, but no extra spikes. Also created what looks to be a finely made helmet with two horns on the front, and now seems to be setting up for a fine short sword.
Hmm.
He looks up as you
So,
approach, his armor squeaking heavily as he turns to address you.
okay, I have a question real quick. Are all these rooms like separated, or are we in like a place where everybody can see each other?
It is a like a large underground chamber, or somewhat large, with like false walls put in between. So if you were like in the middle school, you know how they have like extra walls placed in between the classrooms, so they segregated a lot
Yeah,
more. It's basically
yeah.
that. They have all the smiths arrayed in this large room and have placed false walls between them, and you could look above your false wall and see the piping of the other smiths, like places.
All right, so like nobody can see me and this dude in here, as far as
No,
I can
not
tell.
not unless they are specifically walking behind you, which then they would be pretty obvious.
Okay, okay.
And all of the other people that have come to watch are walking around, uh, and so you haven't really caught anyone extra suspicious. They're just walking around as any observers would during this competition.
Um,
I'm assuming,
uh,
is Orion next to you as well? Is he coming with you during this or no?
I'm I'm not sure.
Um, Orion stayed with the other two
Okay.
to make sure that there was at least some muscle. So if they were to get attacked, he's
Okay.
there.
So basically, you're keeping lookout while he is walking around questioning people.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he looks at you, his armor squeaking heavily.
Good evening.
He just looks at you. And he like nods his head, but just looks at you.
Um, so have you gotten along well so far? No present dangers upon you?
Shakes his head no.
Not a man of. You are a man of a few words, I can see.
He puts his hand
Well,
up to his throat and like almost a strangulation symbol.
huh. Well, then I will not waste your time with many questions. All I would like to know is, well, okay, first let me preface with, I have been walking around and questioning the other Smiths about this unfortunate murder and intimidations. And, well, my group was uh, threatened before the competition, told not to enter, and I noticed among all the other groups they have had a similar run-in with the same man. And I was wanting to know if you have had any experience with this man. A rough-looking, uh, looks like he has seen some battle,
He shakes his
something
head
of
up and
that
down a
sort.
little bit, like in a knowing manner.
I see. Well, sir, seeing as you have some difficulties, I will not waste any more of your time. But please stay safe and keep an eye out. You never know when someone's going to shoot you in the back.
He motions towards you and nods. You understand that he's trying to explain you as well fairly easily. Turns back around and
And
begins his smithing process.
I suppose I'm gonna move on to the next guy.
You move to John Thero, which you see the guy you saw at the guild area. He turns around knowingly, not knowingly, but understanding who you are.
Uh, Hail! Um, Good to meet you again. Are you getting along okay?
Fair enough, yeah. Not any issues presenting itself so far.
I wish me and everybody else could say the same.
I'm
Uh,
suspicious of that Sean fella over there. If I know I've heard you talking about this or seen you walking around at least, saw you come around, talk to the individual Smiths as you walked around this little area we have set up here. Yeah, I think it's Sean, because the other folks say, and I've talked to them myself. The other folks say they met a man. He says he got a crossbow bolt. Only difference in the stories. I wasn't personally threatened. They know not to mess with the guild and all. The Marquis would mess them up, even if they are myriad.
Wait, so is Sean the one that I just got done talking to, the guy that couldn't talk?
No, Sean's the only other human. The one you
Oh, okay,
talked to
okay,
last was Plint Harshmetal.
okay. I'm horrible with names. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
the three dwarves. There's Plint Harshmetal, which is the mute one. There's the shield guy, which is obviously shield. He makes shields. And
yeah,
there's this guy here, which is the guild master that you saw before. Sean is the most generic human name you can imagine. So just Sean is human.
yeah. I hate
Fuck
people
you.
named Sean, dude.
Yeah, Sean, I hate you.
uh, yes, I could have assumed that your status would grant some measure of protection. And I must admit, I have my suspicions about that Sean as well. But innocent until proven, I suppose. Uh,
Get to work proving them. If we finish in the next 3 days here,
I,
he seems that he's going to knock out the rest of us if he ain't winning.
I will do my best with proving. But I was just coming along to make sure that everything was going fine and to see if I could collect any witness statements or anything. Like, have you seen anything suspicious other than the Sean fellow?
First day of the competition, not necessarily first day, but after the first objects were completed, uh, people have been whispering about those crossbow bolts hitting the guy on the back, bringing him low before he could finish his next object. I personally saw several people be talked into not staying. Not directly heard what they were saying, but I saw some of the Smiths walk out. Few people walk up and whisper into him. All of them human. Makes Sean even more suspicious, doesn't it? And they talked to these Smiths, and then after the next object was created, they all dropped out. So,
Hmm.
thinking it's Sean, and you
Well,
should go over there and Tell him what's for.
Tell him. Excuse me. Can you speak up, please?
You should go over there and tell him what's for. He is the
Uh,
only human here, and we all know dwarves better than humans at smithing. That is just a known fact. Always been that way. Always will be that way. He is the only human still here. And he also, well, other than the other guy, but he ain't really a human. He's like a half giant or something. Uh, I don't know. I think he's the problem, though.
well, I'm not very privy to threats and intimidation myself, but I will keep an eye out on him.
Get that
I'll
other
try to make
smith, the
sure.
guy across from me. I don't know his name. I think you know him, though. You came in with him not too long ago. The one I think's half
Indeed.
giant. He'll tell him.
Yes. Yes, maybe he will. I will go have a word with him then.
Fair enough. I gotta get to work anyway. His assistant's
Good
running
luck.
around. Small goblinish fellow.
I will be on my way and let you get to work.
Yes, I would appreciate that. And he begins
So,
his fine smithing process.
so Kotaro just kind of scampers back over to Zal and the others, and like he walks into the little makeshift room that they have there. So I have learned nothing abundantly, or I have learned abundantly nothing.
Okay. So I want to describe this part a little bit. So as Kotaro is talking and obviously seeing Zal at this point, Zal looks completely different than what he normally does. He does not look nervous. He looks hyper focused and as if he was actually someone who could be menacing. He's currently working on the frame with his Y handler, and he looks over at Kotaro with a sheer confidence in his voice. He's like, "So you learned nothing, huh?"
Well, not exactly nothing, but it's not exactly useful. You see, uh, everybody here has been threatened in some way similar to the way we were. They weren't all approached. One of them only had a note left to him. But the ones that were approached by the same man that approached us, I believe.
So there's a difference in alibi. So maybe the one with the bolt. Was there anyone else who stood out?
Uh, there is a human named I literally forgot his name already.
Sean Ash
Sean?
something.
Sean? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a human named Sean. I talked to the guildmaster, and he agrees that suspicion rests pretty readily upon him, as he is the only other human here. And oh, actually, one thing I did learn is that the aggressors are human. So that doesn't fare well for me or this Sean fellow, but as I am wrapped up in bandages, nobody can tell what I am, I suppose. But something else is that Sean has a crossbolt, and the very first man who was killed by a crossbolt of the pack. I couldn't exactly tell whether he had made it or he had it with him prior.
Well, all right. So the Sean fellow's pretty. What's the word? I completely forgot about. Suspicious. There it is. As so, Sean's very suspicious. We have a guy whose alibi is different, and the guildmaster who seems to be a-okay. What about the other two? Did they have any difference?
Well, the shieldsmith was the one that told me about. Well, he was one of the other people who were threatened in person, I believe. And speaking of, steer clear of that fellow. He seems to have a certain distaste for me. I think he thought I was threatening him or something. But then the other fellow, he couldn't exactly talk, but from what little he could tell me, I did ascertain that he was threatened as well. No difference in alibi, I suppose.
Zal is kind of like shoving aside Phelan as he puts the uh, the heated frame inside like a bucket of water that goes. He kind of like thinks for a second as he looks at the frame, back at Kotaro, is like, okay, so there's a mute person, probably could throw us off, but still probably a likely suspect. Don't ever rule that out. And
Indeed.
then and Zal will kind of like continue hammering. I say we check on the Sean fellow, and as a little side thing, keep an eye on the one who has a different alibi.
Same guy.
Yes.
All right. Well, that should be enough. Even if it wasn't a lot, it still is some sort of helpful. So appreciate it, Kotaro. Now, if you could excuse me, me and Phelan here need to get to work.
Indeed.
You guys begin your next set of smithing. Go ahead and roll your 3 checks, and we'll go day by day if
With
you guys want to do
advantage.
something different.
Yes. And I'll describe this Y handler at the end. Okay, that's pretty good already for the first day, but let's see. Alright, that's not as great, but second day, I'll need to start rolling these a lot faster. Okay. Ooh, okay. This one, the third day might fuck me up. Yep. Okay, so 25, 18, and 13.
18 plus 13 divided by 3. Okay. Really close in this competition. But you guys start your Zweihander work, and hitting the heavy metal, you send sparks flying. You produce part of your weapon today, but become slightly drowsy at the end of it. It's an odd sensation of tiredness, and you immediately suspect magic or something of the sort, but you have worked hard today and almost have to stop a little bit early, but push through just a little bit longer. By the end of the day, Zal, you're exhausted, and Phelan seems to be as well. Make a Arcana check for me, Zal, and Kotaro if he wants to.
I do.
Yes, because you are more
Sure.
likely the one that would understand something.
Feel like the two smarter ones should do that. But okay. He's
Well,
not.
no, but you're the smith. You're the head smith, and he is the magic user.
I'm not great with this.
So you each
Dude, my
understand
checks
something
suck.
different.
An 18.
So a 13,
I got a
from
13.
Kotaro. It's not hard. You notice they're both tired, but you know it can't be. It cannot be sleep magic. And you know why? Phelan's an elf. On the other hand, with the 18 of Zal, he suspects sleep magic until he thinks about it for a little bit. Kotaro, I'm assuming, points out the fact that she's an elf. Or at least he can take note of it enough to understand. And then he looks back at his machine. One of the pipes, you feel up it and feel a leak ever so imperceptibly. It isn't much coming out of here, and it's clear, but it's part of the gas that is fueling and fueling your smith, but also is likely highly toxic, and immediately start to back away. Someone has tampered with it, and you know it's been tampered with because there looks to be a bend in the metal on one of the hinges where the pipes are connected, unless if someone stabbed a dagger into it and wedged it to crinkle the metal slightly.
Do I see this as well?
If Zal points it out, you can, which I'm assuming he does.
Which I do.
Yeah. You notice this
Zal.
as well.
Zal, hurry. Go get administration or whatever else. I shall cover this leak until we can get it fixed.
Zal kind of like puts his hand on Kotaro's shoulder for a second. Still in his hyper focus mode, even though he's a bit exhausted. The leak's fine. Just stay outside. This is very toxic. I don't want you getting
This is a closed room.
hurt.
If this goes for
Yeah.
long enough time, it'll hurt every smith in the area.
Mm.
The only reason it's hurt you first is because you have a box blocking and likely not letting it overflow into the rest of the room easily.
Okay,
Oh,
how
okay.
big is this leak?
Not very big. It looks like someone slid the tip of their knife in, and that was enough of the leak. That is now pouring
Okay.
gas out.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Mage Hand, and I'm going to move the hand to cover the leak.
You cast Mage Hand, the translucent-ish hand coming to clasp over it. It covers the leak as best it can. It's gas, so it's still probably coming through, but it's a pipe moving gas through. So if you cover it enough, most of it will go down its designated normal path. So it's covering and attempting to block the flow. Faline and Zhao, and is Orion going as well to the administrative?
Jason's muted right now.
Oh, well then he's probably taking the call then. Either way,
Maybe.
Zval and Faline exit and go
Hey,
to the
I'm here. I'm
Oh.
sorry. I am going. I had myself muted because I was my nose. And I forgot to unmute myself.
Lol.
Are you going with him for the administration, or are you going to stay down
Yes,
here with
yeah.
Kotaro?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. You go up
Okay.
there, leaving Kotaro. Faline then will actually stay with Kotaro, trying to keep the group as together as possible, though staying far back the same way Kotaro is. You guys head up and find a administrator sitting on the desk, keeping a clipboard in hand. It is the Sister Yvonne that you guys talked to even enter the place, is the one that was supposed to be checking the area for the day at the end of it. And is just sitting there, looks up at you guys, confused a little bit.
Zal is about to speak, but then he starts coughing as the disease that had taken over him has kind of like emerged for a second, and also due to the toxicity of the fumes that he breathed in a little bit. He looks at Orion, like taps his shoulder, and points at Sister Yvonne.
Yes. What about her?
Tell about the leak.
Okay. Orion kind of quickly shuffles to her and goes, Miss, I am here to report that there is a leak in our room. Gas is affecting
Give me a
our
second, guys.
Oh.
what?
He said BRB, so he has to do something. All right. So far, this session has been a lot more exciting. I like it.
Yeah. I just found out how to put my phone on speaker. Let's go.
Figure out how to do what?
I figured out how to put Discord on speakerphone.
Oh. Yeah, like if I go mute and you guys don't hear me for a second and I'm still in the call, I'm just blowing my nose.
You're what?
I'm just blowing my nose and I don't want to like have you guys hear friggin'
I'm gonna go on a snack run real quick.
same.
All right. Really glad that No, we
We're
didn't
still
wait for
doing it. I'm
leaving.
just doing a snack run. Good.
beep, ba, 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 da, ba. Yeah, if we would have waited for Damien, we probably wouldn't have been able to. We kind of did.
I might use that later.
Use what? Use
Oh,
what?
sucks, Nick. I need to get some icy hot for me.
Ah, okay.
Turns out wrestling hurts.
Oh no, wrestling hurts. Oh, man, I should probably stop. That stuff hurts.
Nah, it's really fun. If you do it in like a really friendly manner, it's fun. But the thing is with wrestling, anyone that thinks they're going to win easily, and if they get any bit of a challenge back, they will 100% go full force no matter what. So
It's all about honor.
they take it really seriously, and when you take something seriously, someone's going to get hurt.
No, I don't know how this keeps happening with our group, but our group just turns into the investigators for like a few sessions, which is really funny to me.
I think that's something Trent plans on, is like turning into the investigators.
Which like it's cool. Like I like it. It's just a very common term.
I'm having to ward off all the women that want me, dude. Overwatch 2 helps me keep my virginity in line.
Well, you want to keep your virginity. Play Valorant.
If you hear my friggin' like fingers just clacking away because of that, I'm playing Overwatch 2.
Who is Nimmy Finnell?
That
I think
is
that's Willow.
Willow. Damien.
Oh my god.
Dude, I never realized this was kind of like a bad thing to say, but like now it is. But like when someone's like, when I say it's someone's girlfriend, right? I always say their woman, but just because that's what everyone near me says.
Yeah.
In like direct family, and then I just realized, dude, that sounds like really bad if you think about it. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one would actually care because it literally just nothing really serious. But like that's such an easy way to piss off a feminist.
Yeah.
That's his woman. Does he own her? Is that what he did? You stupid swine.
Yeah,
God,
because women are
really
objects, Brad, obviously.
should kill yourself. And then I have to explain to him like, yeah, I do own them. They're my slave. This is what they signed up for.
Honestly,
And if they try to leave, they're gonna get pin slapped.
Funnily enough, I haven't even been watching like our latest recordings, even though it's like a good idea just to get like a big recap. But I just haven't been doing it because I don't want to us.
Oh, I genuinely, I think it's so cool that we record this stuff because I rewatched the session together, and it makes me want to get a mic because I realize how terrible my audio is.
Yeah.
Yeah. My audio is pretty terrible from as I watch it too, and I have a headset.
The reason mine's bad is because I'm having to use a phone. If my computer work, like, because I need a new graphics card for it because it decided to kill itself essentially. If I can get my computer to start working again, then I can just use headphones and stuff on.
Oh,
Oh.
I almost completely forgot you're also. Actually, I probably shouldn't say that. I'll I'll do it after.
No. Also, what?
A thing like you are in the first campaign.
Oh, a Harlequin?
No, not a Harlequin. The thing you got from Hero Chronicle.
A werewolf?
Yes, I didn't want to spoil it, but it's okay.
I already told even.
Okay.
I
I completely forgot you're also a werewolf, which is funny because this character is knows Biel and Faye, right?
It. Yes, this character knows BL and Faye, and it is. But the funny thing is how little they actually talk past is that he never knew Faye was. And actually, I don't think just because of like a time period standpoint that I'm gonna have that. To be honest, just because of the sole fact that this is a couple months before, and unless we can at one point go to Dwindling Empire and almost convince someone. So I'm probably just, even though that would be cool, feel like that's just a bunch of extra steps that doesn't really.
I don't think we're gonna be into like capital dwindling places.
Yeah,
Or if we are, it's more convert.
Faye literally is from Rexington, so
Yeah, which is will be an issue, considering that Orion is working for the Menagerie.
yeah, so it's not gonna happen. It's cool as it would tie in. It's not gonna happen. Well, it already
I
ties
do.
in.
I would love, since we are going to Dwindling Empire, I don't know how far up we're going to go to Empire, but there's a section that has an old character that I did from a one shot like really long ago, and I love him so much because he's so funny. And I'm kind of hoping that we do get to go there and probably meet him, but I don't know. I don't know if we'll ever go that far up the Dwindling Empire.
But was it long before time began?
Pretty much, yeah. Long before time. What is Trent doing? Is he gonna take a poo?
He's taking him a big dookie, or stinky. He's taking him a stinky. The really cool stuff about them both being in, like, the group name, like the mercenaries' name was the Harlequins, right? But someone who, like, the best way to put this, especially embodies the Harlequins was, Orion. So that's why his nickname within the Harlequins was just Harlequin. Or like Biel's was Freak because he was a psychic. He was
I
a
may or may
psychic.
not have to end the session really early because people are coming in here and trying to check stuff out in my room. So,
Like, what about? Like, what is it?
I have people over now, so they're coming in here and just looking at stuff.
That sounded like Tia.
I don't think her
What
name's
does-
Tia.
I don't know, but that sounded like Tia for some reason.
We're getting like a stroke of bad luck with this for some reason.
Yeah, well, either nothing happens or yeah.
I mean, it's only 2 sessions in. Well, this one would be a half session if you have to
I'm
end it
gonna
now.
have to end it. So, I'll
Wait,
play with
Well,
you guys later, I guess.
like
Depends on
what
how
do you-
long.
What do you mean? There's like people. Like, is it random people or people that you know?
People in our family. This is like a recording software. Yeah, but I'm gonna have to leave.
You should